There's a corner of the internet where lots of people are making Dorodangos. In some ways it looks like a simple and easy craft. Other ways it really does look like an optical illusion and something I wonder if is actually possible. Dorodango is a traditional Japanese pastime where earth is shaped into shiny, smooth spheres. Literally mud dumplings in Japanese. The art of Dorodango exemplifies the art of patience and discipline, creating something beautiful from something really plain. Looking at the dirt I have, it sure is going to take some patience. And hopefully in lots of different colours too, so we'll see. My kids thought it was wonderful that they could dig a hole in the back garden. Already, processing the earth itself was bringing calm. Being outdoors, breathing the fresh air. There are videos of exact weights and volumes, adding sand too, but the traditional forms were made by kids in playgrounds. In true Reeves fashion, we dived in to see what would happen, just with the earth we had in our back garden. We sieved as much of the debris, grass and rocks out of the soil as we could, and to the plain soil I added some water, just enough to bring it together to be able to knead it, creating this lovely clay-like form. Rolling them as neatly into a ball as we could. Yes, a little messy, but that's half the fun. To help the balls firm up even further, they like to go somewhere cool, so I double bagged them so I can put them in the fridge. We found that when we put them on a hard surface, they'd get a flat bottom, so to prevent this, we put them on a little bit of cushioning. The next day, straight out of the fridge, they firmed up much more, and you can see some of that moisture has really retracted outwards. These ones seem a little bit too wet, so I dab them dry a little. At this stage they need to firm up even more, so I roll them round on the table for several minutes like this. Then we can take a glass or ceramic vessel and use it to make the ball really perfectly spherical. The kids and I have experimented with this for a while, and we found at this stage we like to dry the balls out a little bit further, so we left them on the windowsill for a few hours just to firm up that little bit more. Then we added a tiny dot of olive oil to a little dish of water and smoothed this all over the dirt ball, using the jar to keep smoothing it out. For the next stage, we let some of the dirt dry out really nicely in the sun, and the piece that I had here seemed to have a little bit more clay content in it. So this is what we used to grind to a finer powder, and the kids really enjoyed this part of the process too. This extra dirt is to add to the outside, and I figured if we start with something smooth and fine, it's more likely that we're going to have a lovely shiny ball at the end. The dirt is now lovely and spherical, and so we can take this finer dirt and start smoothing it on to hopefully give us that really shiny surface. Enjoying the time it takes and really being patient. We watched some other videos of making these where the whole process was actually done by hand, and that smoothing and shining was done with the hands and the palms. So we did a mixture of both, but I personally preferred smoothing and shining with a vessel like this. This is the dirt and soil that I started with at the beginning of this video, and this is one of the ones my kids were working on outside. Getting there they really are, and starting to become a bit shiny. And I think really hard to believe that we started these with just the earth, the ground, the soil, the dirt. And even at this stage, being the round perfect ball, which is not yet shiny, is really still quite impressive, with all it's seeming to need is care and patience. I mentioned at the beginning that it would also be really nice to have these in lots of different colours, and so what I have here are some mica powders. We use this in the same way, adding the dust on the top, and so I mix a little bit of mica powder into the rest of the dust. It's really important that you use the earth as well as the mica powder, as it's the dirt that's going to give us that outer shiny surface. I take the same process and lots of time smoothing everything out. This is one of the earlier ones that we were making with no mica powder, so it's just the plain earth. And we did find that patches weren't getting shiny, but there were some really good shiny patches around these. And we realised that we could shine up those non-shiny patches by adding some more of the oily water, a little bit more of the powder, and smoothing over once again. So if you do have a go at these, don't despair if it doesn't go quite right. Keep going with the care and patience. This one I added a lovely green powder, and this is my favourite and I think the one that's worked best of all so far. Going back to the one that I added the orange mica powder to, you can see it was a little bit dull to begin with, and now as I'm shining it and it's dried that little bit more, it really does start to shine. Then once it's shined for as long as we possibly can and it goes nice and glassy, we can take a soft cloth to make them even more shiny. After being slightly skeptical at the beginning to see, really, are we going to make this work? Or we did wonder whether they were just going to crumble and just be a bit of a mess. But having been through that process, as you can see, we were absolutely amazed that the balls of mud were turning out beautifully shiny. This is one of the ones with mica powder. It's not perfect, it's not, but we really enjoyed making these. The whole family loved getting stuck in. We tried lots of different vessels and lots of different surfaces to try and improve the surface, including just simply using the bottom of a glass to go round and shine and smooth everything out. So we enjoyed doing it that way too. I definitely recommend trying out some Dorodangos, dig up some earth and seeing what you think. If it just gives you a bit of art therapy, then that's amazing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next creative video, where earth is shaped into shiny, smooth spheres. It'd be hard for me to say that one again. Shiny, smooth spheres.